everything ready to make some fantastic sushi and sashimi dishes. So the big question is, how do you decide what to make? First thing we need to do when we have a nice piece of tuna like this is to decide what cut to use. So here's your typical big mega loin of tuna, and if you wanted to make some nice tuna steaks, you would take this part right here and just cut some nice thick, maybe 1-inch steaks out of that part, and you'd get that. But that's not what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be making some tuna, what would we call it? Some seared tuna loin sashimi. So what I need to do with this piece is to butcher it down into some manageable slices here. What I'm going to do with this is cut it this way, trim it up this way, make a few nice little bricks out of it, and then I'll show you what we're going to do with those bricks. Right. This is always a little bit tricky, making the first couple of cuts. Let's try to separate. Okay, so you can see there we have kind of a rectangular brick section right here. Let's move this aside. It's our brick section. Still keep this on the skin. I'm going to put that back in the refrigerator because this is really good to make some spicy tuna rolls with this. A lot of good meat still on there. So let's preserve that, and I'm going to put that on my plate over here. And then, okay, so let's get a brick portion right here. Check that out, that's what we're after right here. A nice rectangular block. Look at that. We'll get our second brick from this section right here. Okay, again, nice pure rectangular section of bluefin tuna right there. I'll do one whole one like this and see how it comes. Yeah, let's do this one and let's wrap these other ones up for a different day. I basically put a bunch of spices into a little bowl here, and I'm going to mix them all together, shake it up, quickly rehash what I have in here just so that you know. Chef Paul Magic Blackening Steak Mix. Steakhouse mix of some kind, a blackening blend. Old Bay. We have some old-fashioned taco seasoning mix. Garlic powder and onion powder. So those are all of our ingredients for our spicy mixture. We have it all mixed up together, and we're going to rub that all over our fish right here. Okay? So let's do that. And don't be shy here. I know it's a nice piece of fish, but we're just flavoring the outside, so we want to get a nice coating. Actually, I'm gonna throw it right in there. I'm gonna Just dip it around so we coat all 4 sides, and then we get the ends too, so all 6 sides get thoroughly coated with this spice mixture. That's what it looks like when it's thoroughly coated. So, next step. Miss a spot now. Next step is into the freezer with this, okay? Reason why this is going in the freezer, because we want to sear this. And ooh, all those spices got to me there. We want to sear it, and we don't want to cook the inside too much, so we want to get a little bit of a frozen core. So for about a half hour you have to put this in the freezer now, and then when we cook it, we're going to cook it on high heat and just sear all around the outside of it. I'm going to try to keep maintaining that brick shape also, so I'm going to get it nice and solid on both ends, fold up the ends, wrapping it up in some plastic wrap, nice and tight, and be easy to manage when we get that out of the freezer. Okay, there we go, into the freezer, wrapped up. Alright, we are ready for part 2 of seared tuna. Super high. High as your stove will go. You may also notice that I'm using a non-stick pan. Non-stick pan is an important thing in this endeavor too, because you want the crust that we're going to form on the outside of this fish to stick to the fish and not to the pan. With a stainless steel pan, when you throw something cold in there, it can stick to that pan. This is a jar full of ghee or clarified butter. So that's what we're going to be basically searing this tuna in. I'm going to put a good healthy portion of this clarified butter in there. And I use clarified butter because it's got a high smoke point and gives it also a little bit of flavor. Don't worry, it's not going to be using all of that butter up, but I'm going to add to that butter a little bit of safflower oil because that also has a high smoke point and we don't want this to be overly smoky. I'm going to add a little bit of safflower oil to this. Ghee that's heating up. Not too much, maybe a couple tablespoons. Just enough so that when we put the fish in, it gets a good bit of oil and butter on the bottom of the pan. Alright, you go get that fish, see what it looks like. Okay, if you remember, this is what we had put into the freezer. And it's not solid, but it's definitely firm. It's all wrapped in plastic wrap, so let's unwrap it. And you literally want to take this out of the freezer right before you're about to drop it in this pan. So the pan's just got another couple of seconds to heat up, because every second that this is out of the freezer, this is starting to thaw more and defrost a bit. Okay, so it's cold and brick-like and ready to go. Okay, so I'm just starting to see some smoke rise. That means we're ready to go. And you should always hear that sizzle when you put that in, okay? You should always hear that little sizzle. You should actually hear that the whole time. That means we're searing. And I usually maybe just like count to 30 seconds on each side. You really don't have to do much. Probably at about 20 seconds right now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And what we're going to do is we're going to flip it right over to the other side using our tongs and our spatula. Alright, so take a look at that. It looks good, right? We got a nice dark crust on that, and that's from all those spices that we used. So that was good, nice initial sear. Had a nice little coating on the outside. Excellent. So we're probably at about 15, 16 seconds on this side. Doesn't have to be exact, but we're looking at about 30 seconds per side. So you're doing this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. 6 times 30 seconds. For 3 minutes, this whole thing takes 3 minutes. So you got a nice rectangular block and good sear on that end. I'm going to stand it up on one of its edges next, like this. Hear a little sizzle. The key is not to overcook this. You want that tuna to be rare in the middle. Just about done. One more end to go. Let's flip it around again. That's about 30. Careful not to burn yourself like I just did. Future self, use long tongs when you do this. Alright, I think I'm just about done here, and we're going to put it on the cutting board next to rest a bit. Alright, if you look closely, all sides are seared. You saw how long it took. It took a mere 3 minutes to do this whole piece. It's a pretty big piece too. Got a nice sear on that end. Since I don't have any plans of eating this tonight, what I will do is I'm just going to let it rest on the countertop at room temperature until all the juices kind of redistribute into the meat. And I'll be watching this too. I don't think it's going to ooze out. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to chill it again. I'm going to put it back on probably like a plate. Once it gets to room temperature, I'll put it on a plate and stick it in the refrigerator. Sometimes I'll even stick it in the freezer if I need to chill it. Like if I wanted to eat it in 10 minutes from now, I would stick it in the freezer for 10 minutes right after it's been in the hot oil. So I don't plan to eat it tonight, so I'm gonna probably just put it in the refrigerator, wrap it in some plastic wrap, and put it in the refrigerator once it gets to room temperature. Alright, it's the next day after I was doing all that tuna preparation, and have my brick that I had put into the refrigerator overnight. So it's just wrapped in saran wrap and it's all chilled and cold right now. I just wanted to slice it up right now, and I'm going to show you what it looks like once it's sliced. Here, look at that. Came out nice, didn't it? See that? Perfect. Now what I'm going to do is take a nice presentation platter and arrange it on the platter, and we'll see what it looks like. There's our finished product. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? Came out nice, just like planned. Hopefully with this video you have learned a few different ways to handle a nice thick loin of tuna, and what we made was a seared tuna sliced, like you just saw, with the spicy blackened exterior. The next part of this video series will involve the toro, or the belly tuna, and that's mostly sashimi, but we have to figure out where the best parts come from, so we're going to do a little video session on that too.